Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hello, how are you this morning or afternoon, whenever you're looking at this video? For me, it's morning. Hope this finds you in good health, secure. I continue to discuss the terms in this Buddhism reference that I put together for modern era practitioners of Lotus Sutra Buddhism, with a special focus through the lens that Nichiren has provided us with his doctrine, his insights, his teachings, yes? In that regard, we have this term we're going to talk about briefly today, the 6 penetrations. I'm not sure, I have read so many versions of the Lotus Sutra, committed most of them to videos here. These different translations, these different authors, these different sources, they all have their own agenda, their own rhetoric, their own cultural traditions of language and application. Many of them, if not all, call themselves Buddhists, practice as Buddhists, but are really practicing a religion and applying Shakyamuni's words to their version of religion. I stand completely stalwartly in opposition to that. I think Shakyamuni did as well and worked his best to demystify, demagicalize people's thinking so that they understood that Buddhism is about reason, observational experience. Nothing, enlightenment in Buddhism is from within because it already is a facility of the human sentient mind. But humans seem to view that as putting too much responsibility on ourselves. Oh, can't I fluff that off to somebody else, something else? Buddhism is quite strict about that. No. Buddhism says you're in charge of your life, your happiness, your strength, the way that you navigate and overcome obstacles. It's all you. Don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. I mean, if you were sitting in the back seat of a car and the car had no driver and it was wandering all over the road, why would you accept that as okay because you're not responsible for the impending doom that's always around the corner, so to speak? Wouldn't you rather be in control, in the driver's seat, making sure to take the best possible path and get somewhere, advance your life? Buddhism, Shakyamuni, all of the scholarship of Buddhism says, duh, right? Isn't that what you'd rather be doing? Nichiren certainly was of that mind. Anyway, that's all a long way of saying that with all of the translations available in the many languages, the authors, the sources the authors use, all have these rhetorical errors that, especially for the new initiate into Buddhist scholarship, can be very misleading. Right? Because the language doesn't come from Shakyamuni, it comes from the traditions of religious and cultural and social norms, quote unquote, accepted, quote, truths that are difficult to challenge. Humans. Wow. That's from a Woody Allen movie. Anyway, so the 6 penetrations. We've come across, I think that's the language of a BDK translation of the Lotus Sutra that we read not long ago. But no matter the source, it's a term that we may run into as modern Buddhists without meaning to, without recognizing. And so it's added to this book just to not understand how the early Buddhists took these words to be, but, or what do I say often? Woo-woo. But to understand these terms from the perspective of a Nichiren-informed modern Age of Mappo Lotus Sutra Buddhist practitioner, yeah? So, also known as the 6 spiritual penetrations, in times of speaking on the stages of early or differences in the accomplishments of the 3 vehicles of practice, Shakyamuni sometimes referred to the stages of those practices that are surmounted by the teaching of the Lotus method of Myoho Renge Kyo. And I see a typo. And I use one of Melanie's little sticky notes here to remind me that I need to fix that. Where's my pencil? What have you done with my pencil? Found it. You can stop looking. Come on now. All right. In the parable of the conjured city, one of the great parables, stories in the Lotus Sutra, that chapter of the Lotus, Shakyamuni refers to 6 penetrations, 8 deliverances, and 3 clarities. Oh boy, right? When we get that word salad, where, what happens a lot, yeah? So, achievements that would again be surmounted by the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhai of perfect and complete clarity of the Lotus Dharma teaching. So the Lotus teaching supersedes all of this, but let's just take on the first one, the 6 penetrations. They are the divine eye that sees what others cannot see. What are we talking about, the divine eye? It's the Gohonzon, right? It's the opening of the Buddha eye. That's how we know it, through Nichiren, through Tendai, through Lotus Sutra method, yes? The second, the divine ear. You know, how many times have we talked about the purification of the senses, right? These penetrations, which might mislead you because of the charisma of that word and what it might mean. Why penetrations? Because they allow you to penetrate reality, clear understanding of the moment-to-moment reality happening in the momentum of life that ignorant folk don't, not knowing about Lotus Sutra practice Buddhism, are severely not restrained, what's the word? Not diminished even. Well, they are diminished, but they've just never fully expressed their eye, their ear, right? So these are penetrations in that sense into a greater, a full understanding of the expression of life moment to moment, rather than a compartmentalized, trained with the samsaric mind to see, hear, so on and so forth, with the agenda of desires, cravings, clinging, free of that, the ear, the eyes penetrate reality far more fully, completely, perfectly. See why penetrations now? And again, in parentheses, that hears what others cannot hear. Why can others not hear? Because they are parameterized in their hearing is for this. Hearing is for this pleasure, this skandha, this, instead of understanding that hearing is not just for personal cravings and clinging, but some facility of the cosmos, which we as individual units can experience, witness on the scale of the cosmos, not limited to the scale of what I want, what I need, what I own. Me, self. Samsaric self. Third, the ability to penetrate and know the minds of others. See, ignorance, non-Lotus Sutra awakened Buddha minds, samsaric minds, see others, hear others as reflections of our own desires, our own needs, our own cravings and clingings. So we have a gray, huge filter in our experience of others, and therefore understanding what they think is always compared with, oh, well, that's how I think, or that's how that person deviates from my thinking. The filter being your own highly reduces your effectiveness in really hearing with empathy, with compassion. Fourth, the ability to see past lives. In other words, try to remember your day-to-day life as a young child, as a baby, as a teenager. You'll have memories, but day-to-day memories, more to the point, memories of how your thinking was experiencing life then, it's very difficult. If you're honest with yourself, it's very difficult. Again, you may have moments, but try to remember a week. And I don't mean by date, but I mean your process of living and experience life in your past, or for that matter, in a friend's or a sibling's or another person's past. Much harder, yeah. Fifth, the ability to be or to go anywhere at will. What are your restrictions? Oh, I can't go to that city, or I can't go to my friend's house, or I can't go to her house, or I can't possibly do that, go there. Right? Concerns always, again, related to protecting that self that we imagine ourselves to be, instead of being open to the momentum wherever it carries us. And sixth, the ability to penetrate all afflictions. And that's a even more difficult one, right? It doesn't mean that I can think about my broken leg and fix it, although your body will do that to some degree. It's about penetrating, again, the experience of whatever the illness is, affliction is. See, affliction isn't always illness. Affliction is, well, Buddha would probably say it's anyway. Hell, an affliction is craving and clinging. So anything that inhibits our joyful experience of life is by definition an affliction. And if you can understand those afflictions at their root, then number one, you don't have to fear them. Number two, you'll understand and you can embrace what their requirements are to overcome them. And thirdly, they don't impede you. You recognize them. You heal them in a sort of way by removing craving and clinging in the samsaric instantiation of them. And the more you do that, the more you promote health and heal. So, often used to define aspects of Buddha, these are amongst several lists of marks of the Buddha. Somebody who can do this, somebody who can see beyond the affliction or the sound of or the appearance of, right? So that's the 6 penetrations. It's not magic, it's not mysticism. It's just an aspect of Buddhism that you'll sometimes run into. If you need to know that, great. What's more important to me is that it doesn't make you stumble as you read certain accounts from certain authors, of certain translations, of certain sources that seem to be hung up about these things or use them as very powerful teaching methods. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Right? It's not that complex. Just instantiate your Buddha-ness, your Buddha eye. All this other stuff, it'll just come with the territory. No need to get into the minutia of these earlier terms. All roads lead to Namu Myo Renge Kyo. All right? Build your confidence every day. Support this resource in any way you can. It's so appreciated. All the links below, you know what to do. In the meantime, keep your practice strong, right? Savor it. Take your time. Make it meaningful. Take care of your health. And I'll see you in the next one. Indubitably. I've used that word before. I just like saying it. Kind of rolls out of the mouth, doesn't it? Indubitably. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.